Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of Weekly Spark. This Weekly Spark is just about testing some new materials that I have. I have a scrap piece of masking paper and I have a new stencil and some new stamps. And so I'm simply going to play with them and see what they look like since I haven't ever used them before. Not every page has to be a big elaborate ordeal. That's the whole idea, the whole incentive behind this Weekly Spark series. Doing small, fast things that often are playful. Maybe they're parts of a whole piece, or maybe they're just standalone experimentation. So, today, brought to you in the spirit of just play, to just be mindful and have fun experimenting with and experiencing a new material. Let me turn the camera around. I'll show you what I have. So today I'm working in one of my small sketchbooks. It's a watercolor paper. I'm just going to work on one side today, not a whole spread. And this piece of paper here with all of this mist and splatter on it is one of the masking sheets. I don't know what else to call them. It's literally just copy paper, and I slip it underneath a page when I'm working so that it kind of protects anything from splashing down on the rest of the pages in the book, and it protects the table a little bit. Even though you've seen the surface of my table, it's a designated table and it's pretty well loved. This piece just had some nice colors on it, and I didn't want to test out the stamps and the stencil on a plain white background, so I'm simply going to glue this in with gel medium. The surface is dry, so then it won't interfere with any of the new things that I'm experimenting with. It does have a straight edge on the bottom, and if you've watched any of my videos before, you know I don't usually love a straight edge. But again, this is a page about experimenting and testing things out. So I am concerned with how it looks because, yes, I want to see my new toys and how they work. But I'm not planning a page. This isn't destined for anything except a page of playing and experimenting in my book. So the stamps that I have are Stampers Anonymous. That's a Tim Holtz thing. I don't get any kickback. I don't get any paid promotion or anything. I bought these because I liked them. I liked the kind of classical designs. They're a little swirly and foofy, but I think they can also, depending on how I use them, look really old. I mean, this stamped in gesso could look like lace. So they were also neutral enough designs that have happened in different times and different cultures. So they weren't too modern, they weren't too specific for me. I like things to be a little bit more open-ended so that I can use them in my work, my way, and they don't carry a certain cultural context or pop culture or things like that. This is a stencil by Finnabair, and it looks like a cancellation mark. It looks like a ledger scribble and like columns and handwriting. So that, I think, is going to be a fun text element. In fact, we're going to do this one first. Like right there. Just like bam. Center of the page. And I'm going to try it in... I'm going to put another color out too so that I can kind of mix them together and have it not be so perfect. Let's see, this is a deep burgundy. So I just have that on deli paper, and I do have a stencil brush. Everybody has their own preference as to what they work a stencil with. Maybe a sponge, maybe those finger dauber sponge things. Some people like to use that adhesive to kind of stick their stencil down on the page so it doesn't shift. I'm really hoping that my paint is thick enough that it's not seeping under the details on this stencil. But again, it's a play page, so I can experiment with it and not let it be too precious. I liked the brush idea for this because then I thought it would get into the details better. But we will see if that was a valid hypothesis when we pull this stencil up. The lines are so small, this stencil might even work better sprayed with a liquid. So that'll be another thing to experiment with. Okay. All right. So I did get a good bit of bleeding and smearing in this area. So the images got a lot, a little wetter and slid out underneath the stencil. But that's really fun. I'm totally happy with that. I don't always clean my stencils. Sorry, loud noise with the baby wipes. But because this one is such fine pattern, fine design, I just wanted to go over it with baby wipe and get some of that paint off. So that it doesn't clog it for future use. I don't think it would. I didn't have that much paint on it, but hey, it's brand new. Take care of it for now. Okay, so the other things that I have, these stamps, I'm going to put my paint away. If I'd had more paint on that tissue, I could have used it to spread out or dry brush on another page and prep it to just not waste it, which I like to do sometimes, to have just these pages with a color laid down, waiting to be, waiting for something else to happen. All right, so I have a Distress Oxide stamp pad. This one is sapphire, something, chipped sapphire, kind of a bluish gray. A little blurring there, that was my fault. And I do clean my stamps a little bit on more scrap paper, because then this I can tear up and use in collage later. So let's try I think I'm just going to try everything on this page and just really hit it heavy. Let's do the big corner in the bottom. But there's a lot of this green there. So this is evergreen bough. So we're going to pull that green in a little bit more. I don't know what the recommended technique is, but I like doing this way because then I can see on the stamp when I have enough juicy ink on all the areas. And I like that for right in the corner. Again, a little blurring, but that was probably me. All right, 2 down, 3 to go. I want to do something in Rusty Hinge. I love that one. Let's see if we've got enough ink to do like a shadow in the corner. Yes. Okay. Now, this is pretty full. This is actually really kind of entertaining, fun looking to me. I feel like it needs, I mean, I want to try the other stamps, but I want to do something to break up this a little bit. Maybe I'll just leave it. Oh, okay, hang on. This little floral in the sapphire blue again. In the center of the green to add some variety to green. Yeah. And we'll try any shadow stamping, any ink that's left on there. Okay. All right, so that left 2 of them. You know what? I have an archival stamp pad in Thistle, and if I could get this little bird to be in a color similar to the acrylic paint I used, that would be a nice accent as well. Yep, that's a really pretty close match, kind of that burgundy purple color. All right, that uses everything except the last one. The one that I didn't try is this branch with some berries or fruit on it. But I really like these stamps. I like the foam stamps. I like being able to feel how much pressure I'm putting on them, because sometimes when you're using a traditional rubber stamp, especially in a sketchbook, this has all different layers. This has different pages that I've worked on. It's not perfectly flat. It's built up and it's getting that sketchbook bloom. So a lot of times the hard rubber stamp is extremely difficult to get a clear stamp on, at least for me. I mean, maybe I'm doing something wrong, but the foam stamps feel so much more tactile and I feel like I have a lot more control. This page, I'm going to stamp with the date. Now, I know the date is much earlier than when you're going to end up seeing this video, since I do the weekly sparks in a bunch, and then I have time to edit them and post them for you guys once a week. So this does just give me that kind of place in time where I did this piece in January, playing with some new stamps that I treated myself to for a holiday present. That page was extremely quick. This video was 16 minutes before I edited it down, and that was probably a lot of me talking. So anything that takes you to the page, anything, you have permission to play. So I hope that you get to take that permission slip and get into your art journal this week. Thanks, everybody. I will see you next week. Subscribe if you like. These have been coming out on Wednesdays for Weekly Spark, so I would love to see you next week. Thanks. Take care.